Some stories don't begin with fireworks or fairy tales. They begin in silence, in grief, in the echo of an empty chair at the dinner table. I never thought love would find me again. Not after losing my wife. Not after years of raising my daughter alone with nothing but tired hands and a breaking heart. But fate has a way of testing us when we least expect it. One blind date changed everything. A meeting not perfection, but of two people scarred, fragile, and terrified of opening up. What happens when broken souls collide? Do they shatter completely, or do they find a way to fit together and become whole again? Do you believe in second chances, in love that rises from the ashes of loss? If yes, like this video and share thoughts in the comments. I stared at the empty chair across from me, the cheap cafe light flickering overhead. My palms were damp, so I kept rubbing them against my jeans. I hated how nervous I felt. She'd laugh at me for this. I muttered under my breath. The waiter glanced my way. "Sorry, sir." "Nothing," I said quickly. My voice cracked, and I cleared my throat. This wasn't me. Blind dates? Cafes at night? I was a widowed father who spent most evenings reading bedtime stories, not chasing something new. But loneliness had a way of gnawing at me in the silence, when my daughter was asleep and I was left alone with my ghosts. "Dad, you should try," my little girl had told me last week, swinging her legs from the couch. "Mom would want you to be happy." Her words still echoed in my chest. She was only 7, yet somehow wiser than me. I reached for the coffee mug, then froze when the door opened. She rolled in with quiet grace, wheels clicking softly against the tile floor. A wheelchair. I blinked, unprepared. She moved with a kind of practiced strength, like she was used to people staring. Her chin was lifted, her expression unreadable. The hostess guided her toward me. My throat tightened. "Hi," she said simply, stopping at the table. Her voice was steady, deeper than I expected, confident. I shot up from my chair too fast, nearly knocking it over. Hi, I'm Daniel." Her lips twitched. I assumed. Heat rushed to my ears. I pulled out the chair across from me, then immediately realized my mistake. "Oh, sorry, you don't... She raised an eyebrow, smirking. "You mean I don't need a chair? Right. Good observation." I sank back into my seat, fumbling with a napkin. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean..." "It's fine," she cut in, her tone cool but not cruel. "Most people don't know what to say." For a moment, silence hung between us. The cafe buzzed with low chatter and clinking dishes. But at our table, it felt like a spotlight had landed. I forced myself to breathe. "Do you want coffee? Or tea? Obviously you can order for yourself. I'm just..." Her laugh startled me. It wasn't mocking, just amused. "Relax, Daniel. It's a blind date, not a job interview." I let out a shaky chuckle. "Feels like both." The waiter returned, and she ordered black coffee without hesitation. I followed with the same, though I hated black coffee. I just needed to do something. She folded her hands on the table, nails painted a muted gray. "So, tell me, why are you here?" The bluntness caught me off guard. "Because my friends set me up. They think I'm lonely." Are they wrong? The question cut straight through me. I looked down at the coffee mug. No, they're not wrong. Her gaze softened, just a flicker. "Same here. People keep trying to fix me up like I'm some project. I usually say no. Tonight, I said yes." I shifted in my seat. "Why yes tonight?" She held my eyes. "Because I'm tired of eating alone." The words hit me hard, sharper than she probably intended. I swallowed, feeling the weight of them settle into my chest. I thought of my daughter again, waiting at home with my neighbor babysitting. I thought of her smile when she told me to try. She deserved more than a father who was drowning in grief, more than nights filled with silence. But I didn't know how to move forward. "Look," I said quietly, "I should be honest. My wife, she passed away 3 years ago. I've been raising my daughter alone. I'm not sure I'm good at this." Her eyes lingered on me, calm but piercing. "You're already better than most men I've met. At least you're honest." I didn't know what to say. She leaned back slightly in her chair, her tone shifting. If you came here expecting perfect, I'm not it. I don't hide my chair. I don't apologize for it. If that makes you uncomfortable, you should probably finish your coffee and leave. The challenge in her voice was sharp, but underneath it, I caught something else, fear. I shook my head quickly. No, I'm not leaving. I'm just trying to figure out how to be here. With you, without messing this up. For the first time, her expression cracked, the faintest smile tugging at her lips. Fair answer. The silence between us shifted then, less heavy, more alive. I sipped the bitter coffee, grimacing. She noticed, smirked, and asked, "Don't like it, do you?" I shrugged, embarrassed. Not really. Her laugh was warm this time, and something in my chest eased. Maybe, just maybe, this night wouldn't be as impossible as I thought. Her laugh lingered in the air, softening the space between us. But when it faded, the silence came back, thicker, heavier, like a wall rising again. I hated walls. I'd lived behind mine too long. I tapped the side of my cup, searching for words. "So, do you, do this often?" She raised one eyebrow. "Blind dates? Hardly. I avoid them like the plague." "Then why tonight?" I asked, her gaze locked on mine, steady, unblinking. "I already told you. I was tired of eating alone. And maybe I wanted to test something." "Test what?" "Whether someone would see me, or just the chair." Her bluntness caught me off guard. I almost choked on my coffee. "That's honest." "I don't do small talk," she said. "Life's too short for fake smiles." I chuckled nervously, rubbing my thumb over the rim of my mug. "Yeah, I'm guilty of that. Fake smiles. Pretending I'm okay when I'm not." She tilted her head. "You don't seem okay." Her words cut deeper than she knew. My chest tightened. "I'm not," I admitted quietly. She didn't rush me. She didn't push. She just waited. "My wife passed away 3 years ago." I finally said. The words felt heavy every time, like dragging stones out of my throat. "Car accident. One moment she was there, the next she was gone. Since then, it's just been me and my daughter." Her expression softened, the edge in her voice fading. "I'm sorry." I shook my head. "Don't be. I hate when people look at me like I'm broken glass. I get pity from strangers, judgment from others, sympathy I never asked for. I didn't come here for that." "I wasn't offering pity," she said firmly. "Just acknowledgement." That stopped me. Acknowledgement. Not pity. Not sympathy. Just truth. I leaned back in my chair, exhaling. My daughter is my anchor. She keeps me alive. But some nights, when she's asleep, I sit there wondering if this is all I'll ever be, the sad dad who couldn't move on. Her fingers tapped against the table, deliberate, controlled. "You're not the only one with scars." I glanced at her wheelchair, then back at her. I wanted to ask, but my throat hesitated. She noticed. "Say it. You want to know what happened." "I don't want to pry." "You're not prying. You're human." She leaned forward slightly, her eyes sharp but not unkind. "Car accident. 2 years ago. It took more than my ability to walk. It took the man I thought I'd marry. He couldn't handle it. Packed his things and left." I flinched. "He left you?" "Yes." Her jaw tightened, but her voice stayed calm. "He didn't want to be tied to someone in a chair. I guess love has conditions for some people." "That's—" I stopped myself before saying cruel. She didn't need my labels. She gave a bitter laugh. "So now you know why I don't waste time on fake smiles. I already paid for them." I didn't know what to say, but my heart ached in recognition. Different scars, same pain. "Guess we're both carrying ghosts," I murmured. Her eyes met mine, and for the first time, they softened without walls. "Maybe." We sat there, two strangers bound not by romance yet, but by truth. I stirred the coffee, though it didn't need stirring. "You know, before tonight, I told myself I was just doing this because my friends pushed me, that I'd sit here, smile, pretend, then go home. And now," she asked, "now I feel less alone." The words slipped out before I could stop them. Her lips curved, not quite a smile, but something close. That's progress. For a long moment, we didn't talk. The clatter of dishes, the hiss of the espresso machine, the hum of voices, all of it faded. There was only the weight of our story sitting between us. Not crushing, but oddly freeing. I leaned forward. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. When you look at me, what do you see? She studied me for a few seconds. A man who's still bleeding, but trying to pretend he's healed. A father who thinks being strong means never falling apart. And a human being who hasn't given himself permission to be loved again. Her words stripped me bare. My throat burned. And when you look at me, she asked, I swallowed hard. I see someone who's stronger than she'll ever admit. Someone who carries pain but refuses to bow under it. Someone who deserves more than people walking away. Her eyes glistened, just faintly. She blinked fast, hiding it. Careful, Daniel. That almost sounded like hope. Maybe it is, I said quietly. And for the first time in years, I wasn't afraid of the word. Hope was dangerous. I told myself as we stepped outside the cafe. The night air was cool, carrying the faint smell of rain. She maneuvered her chair with practiced ease, not asking for help, not slowing down. I walked beside her, unsure if I should offer my arm, my hand, anything. You don't have to hover, she said without looking at me. I wasn't hovering. I replied too quickly. She glanced sideways. Yes, you were. I rubbed the back of my neck. Okay, maybe a little. Habit, I guess. I'm used to taking care of people. Her hands paused on the wheels, then pushed again. Your daughter? Yeah, she's 7. Keeps me on my toes. She's lucky, she said. I'm not sure she'd agree when I burned pancakes. I muttered. That earned me a small laugh, light but real. Burnt pancakes still beat being ignored. We reached the corner, waiting for the light. The street was quiet, neon signs buzzing faintly above the empty road. I shoved my hands into my pockets, feeling the weight of silence pressing again. Can I tell you something? She asked softly. Of course. I avoid dating. Not because I don't want connection, but because men usually treat me like a project or they avoid me altogether. Her voice dipped lower, almost a whisper. They see the chair before they see me. The words hit me like a punch. My chest tightened, and before I could stop myself, I said, I know that feeling. She frowned. You? How? I hesitated, then exhaled. People look at my daughter and think she's extra baggage. They look at me and see a tragedy. A man they have to fix. A broken story. Her eyes softened. So they pity you too. Yeah, I said bitterly. And sometimes pity feels worse than hate. She stopped in the middle of the sidewalk, studying me. Funny, isn't it? People are so scared of broken things, but they forget everyone's cracked somehow. I couldn't help but chuckle, though it came out hollow. Guess that makes us a pair of cracked vases. Her lips twitched. Or maybe 2 broken pieces trying to see if they can fit. The words hung in the air, fragile but real. I didn't know what to say. My throat felt tight, but my chest lighter somehow. We started walking again. I glanced at her, at the way her shoulders held strength even when her eyes betrayed exhaustion. She wasn't fragile. She was steel wrapped in scars. You know, I said quietly, when I first saw you rolling tonight, I froze. Not because of the chair, but because I didn't know how not to say the wrong thing. And now, she asked, now I'm realizing there is no right thing. Just honesty. Her smile was faint but genuine. That's rare. We stopped outside the small parking lot where my car was parked. She tilted her head toward it. You're driving? Yeah. I hesitated. Do you need a ride? No, she said, shaking her head. My driver's waiting. Perks of being a boss. I blinked. Boss! Her lips curved. CEO, actually. Didn't your friends mention that part? I almost choked. CEO? As in company CO? Yes, she said casually, watching my stunned face. Surprised? I mean, yeah, a little. She leaned forward slightly, her tone sharp but not unkind. Promise me something, Daniel. What? Don't treat me differently because of that. Don't start walking on eggshells or thinking of me as money and heels, or wheels. I laughed nervously. I wouldn't. I swear. Honestly, I'm more intimidated by the fact that you drink black coffee without flinching. That made her laugh, loud, unguarded, the kind of laugh that felt like a window opening. We stood there, two broken people on a dark sidewalk, laughing at burnt pancakes and bitter coffee. And in that moment, it didn't feel like a date. It didn't feel forced. It felt like survival. Like maybe, somehow, we'd found someone who understood the weight we carried. As her car pulled up and her driver helped stow the chair, she looked at me one last time. Thank you. For what? I asked. For not seeing just the chair. I swallowed hard. And thank you for not seeing just the empty seat across from me. Her eyes flickered, softer now. Good night, Daniel. Good night. The car pulled away, leaving me standing there under the buzzing neon. My reflection in the glass window looked different. Not healed, not whole, but less hollow. The drive home that night was restless. Her laughter still echoed in my head, but so did a question. What would my daughter see in her? Kids don't fake smiles. They see through everything. A few days later, she asked me over the phone, "When do I get to meet your little girl?" My chest tightened. "Are you sure you want that step already?" "Yes," she said simply. "If this goes anywhere, she's part of it. And if it doesn't, better she knows sooner than later." Her words made sense, but fear gnawed at me. My daughter was my mirror, my judge, my fragile hope. What if she didn't like her? Worse, what if she loved her, only for things to fall apart? Still, the following Saturday, I found myself standing by the couch, hands sweaty, watching my daughter line up her stuffed animals. "Sweetheart," I began carefully, "a friend is coming over today." She looked up at me, curious. "A friend? Like the guys from work?" "No," I said, scratching the back of my neck. "This is different. She's special." My daughter tilted her head. "Special how?" "You'll see." I forced a smile. "Just be yourself, okay?" "Dad," she said with a dramatic eye roll, "I'm always myself." The doorbell rang before I could answer. My stomach dropped. When I opened the door, she was there, poised, calm, the wheelchair rolling forward like it belonged. My daughter peeked from behind my leg, staring. "Hi," she said warmly, looking directly at my daughter. "You must be the boss of the house." My daughter blinked, then giggled. "Dad says that too." "Smart man," she replied, smiling. I watched my daughter step out cautiously. "Do you like unicorns?" she asked. Her eyes lit up. "Love them, especially the ones that sparkle." That was it. Within minutes, they were on the floor, surrounded by stuffed animals, making up silly voices. My daughter laughed so hard she snorted, and the sound filled the room like sunlight. I leaned against the wall, breath catching. She didn't see the chair. She saw the smile, the kindness. My chest ached with something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Later, after bedtime stories and tucking my daughter in, I walked her to the door. The night was quiet, only the hum of streetlights outside. "She's wonderful," she said softly. "She likes you," I replied, still stunned. "That doesn't happen easily." Her smile faltered then, a shadow crossing her face. "What is it?" I asked. She looked down at her hands on the wheels. "Daniel, I need to be honest. I don't want to hurt her. If this doesn't work out, if I can't be what you both need, it'll break her heart. And I couldn't live with that." Her words cut deep because they echoed my own fears. I swallowed hard. I think she's already been hurt by life enough. But tonight, she was happy. That has to mean something. She looked up, eyes searching mine. It means everything. And that's what terrifies me. I had no answer, just silence. When she finally left, I stood in the doorway long after, staring into the night. Hope and fear twisted inside me like two sides of the same coin. I stared at the plates on the table. 3 of them. My stomach dropped the second I noticed. 1 for me, 1 for my daughter, and without thinking, 1 for her. Not the woman sitting across from me now. My wife. Her voice broke the silence. "Daniel, did you mean set 3? My hands froze around the serving spoon. I guess I didn't think about it. Old habit. She studied me quietly, then asked gently, "Do you still talk to her?" The air in my chest tightened. Sometimes, I admitted, staring at the empty plate. Not out loud, but in my head, yeah, especially when I don't know what to do with our daughter. I asked her what she would have said, how she would have handled things. My daughter piped up between bites of pasta. Dad talks to Mom when he stares at the sky. I see his lips move. Heat rushed to my face. "Sweetheart." "It's okay," the woman across from me said softly. "You don't have to explain." But I felt like I did. I don't want you to think I'm stuck. It's just, sometimes the memories come back before I can stop them. She lowered her fork, eyes steady on me. "I understand more than you think. I had someone once, too, after the accident. He said he loved me, said we'd figure out together. Then one day he was just gone. He couldn't handle the chair. I wasn't the same woman he'd fallen for, and he didn't want the reminder." I blinked hard, words caught in my throat. "He walked away?" She nodded, without even saying goodbye. The room went still. Even my daughter, who usually filled every silence, kept quiet. Inside, my thoughts churned. I wasn't the only one haunted. She carried her ghost differently, not in memory, but in betrayal. Mine had been taken. Hers had abandoned. Both wounds still bled. My daughter finally broke the silence. "That's mean," she said firmly, glaring like she wanted to scold the invisible man. "You're nice. Dad says only cowards run away." The woman smiled faintly, though her eyes shimmered. "Your dad is very wise." I cleared my throat. "I don't feel very wise right now." She met my eyes. "You're here. That's more than most people manage when they're broken." I let the words sink in, though part of me resisted. Was I really here? Or was I still standing at a grave, setting an extra plate no one would ever use? Dinner dragged slower after that. My daughter finished and scampered off to play in her room, leaving us with the weight of the table between us. She touched the rim of the empty plate gently, almost reverently. "You don't have to hide her. Not from me. But you should ask yourself, are you making space for her or keeping space from anyone else?" Her words cut deep, sharper than I wanted to admit. "I don't know," I whispered. "Neither do I," she replied. "I'm still afraid every day. Afraid I'll never be enough for anyone again. Afraid I'll always be the one people leave." We sat in silence, two souls bound not by romance but by grief and fear. The kitchen light buzzed faintly, the smell of garlic still hanging in the air. Yet all I could feel was a hollow space that plate carved into the night. Later, when I cleared the table, I hesitated with that extra dish in my hand. My daughter's laughter echoed from her room, mixing with the woman's soft voice telling her good night as she wheeled down the hall. I stared at the plate one last time before sliding it back into the cupboard, and for the first time, I wondered if I was strong enough to stop surviving and start living. I couldn't sleep that night. The plate I'd slid back into the cupboard kept echoing in my head. Was I really ready to let go? Or was she right, that I was leaving no room for anyone else? By the third day, the silence between us was louder than words. When she finally came over again, I tried to act normal, but something in her eyes told me she hadn't forgotten either. It started small, my clumsy attempt at dinner conversation. "You've been quiet," I said, setting down her plate. "And you've been somewhere else," she replied, her tone sharper than usual. I bristled. "I'm here, aren't I?" "Physically, yes. But emotionally," she gestured toward the kitchen with her chin. "You keep setting that third place in your heart, Daniel. You say you want to move forward, but you're still living at a table that doesn't exist anymore." Her words stung and my chest tightened. "So now it's a crime to miss my wife? She was my partner, the mother of my child. I can't erase her just because you think she takes up too much space." Her eyes flashed. "That's not what I said. But maybe I'm foolish for thinking you'd ever let someone like me in. Maybe you keep me at arm's length because I remind you that life broke, and you don't want to admit you're scared to try again." The words ripped something open in me. "Scared? You think I'm scared? No, you're the one scared. You keep pushing me away before I even have a chance to try. You think I don't see it? Every time we get close, you flinch like I'm going to vanish. I'm here, but you don't trust it. Her lips trembled, but her voice was firm. Because people do vanish. They see this chair and run. I can't survive another goodbye. Before I could answer, a small voice cut through the tension. Don't fight, please. I turned. My daughter stood in the doorway, her eyes glistening, tears running down her cheeks. Her little fists were balled at her sides. Sweetheart. I stepped toward her, but she shook her head. Mom's already gone, she cried. I don't want her gone, too. I like her. Her small finger pointed at the woman across from me. Why do you have to ruin everything? The words slammed into me harder than any argument ever could. My throat burned. My knees felt weak. I looked at the woman, then at my daughter, and realized the truth. I wasn't just gambling with my own broken heart. I was gambling with my little girls. I'm sorry, I whispered, though I wasn't even sure who I was saying it to. The woman's face crumpled, and she turned her chair toward the door. Maybe your daughter's right. Maybe I shouldn't have come into your life. Wait. I reached out, but my hand froze in midair. She was already moving, her wheels whispering against the hardwood floor. My daughter's sobs filled the silence. I knelt down, wrapping my arms around her, but she pushed against my chest. Why do you always make people leave? The knife twisted deeper. I kissed the top of her head, unable to answer, because I didn't know. The door clicked shut behind the woman, and the sound echoed like finality. For days afterward, guilt weighed on me like a stone. I went through the motions, packing lunches, walking my daughter to school, folding laundry late into the night. But every quiet moment turned into a replay of that evening, her eyes wet with unshed tears. My daughter's voice, trembling and broken. My own words, sharp and defensive. I wanted to tell myself I'd been protecting my wife's memory, or my daughter, or even myself. But in truth, I'd been protecting nothing. I'd just been afraid of letting go, afraid of trusting, afraid of being left again. And now, maybe I'd lost them both. The silence stretched for days. Her absence filled every corner of the house, pressing against me like a weight I couldn't lift. My daughter stopped asking about her after the third night, but I saw in her eyes, hope slowly dimming, trust fraying. I couldn't let it end like that. By Friday, I stood outside her office, palms sweating, my heart battering my ribs. The glass doors loomed, polished and intimidating, just like her world. I didn't belong here, but I also knew I couldn't keep hiding behind excuses. I pushed the door open and walked in. She looked up from her desk, surprise flashing in her eyes. Daniel, I swallowed hard. I had to see you. Her tone cooled. You shouldn't be here. I know, I said quickly, moving closer. But if I leave things the way we did, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Her lips pressed tight. What do you want from me? My chest ached, but I forced the words out. I'm not perfect. I'm still healing. But I don't want to walk away. And I don't care about the chair. I care about you. The room went quiet. I heard the faint tick of the wall clock, the hum of the air conditioner. My hands shook at my sides, but I held her gaze. For the first time, I saw her walls falter. Her shoulders sagged, her eyes glimmering like glass about to crack. You don't understand, she whispered. Then help me, I said. Help me understand. Her voice trembled. I want love. I do. But every time someone looks at me, I wonder if they see me or if they just see what I lost. I'm terrified of being seen as less. I took a step closer, my heart breaking for her. You're not less. You're more. She shook her head. Daniel. No. I cut in gently but firmly. Listen, you're more because you kept fighting when the world tried to break you. You're more because you show up even when it hurts. You're more because you didn't let what happened define you. That's not weakness. That's strength. Her breath hitched, and for the first time since I met her, she let the tears fall freely. I don't let people see this side of me, she admitted softly. Not at work, not at home. No one. It's easier to pretend I'm unshakable. I reached out slowly, giving her the chance to pull away. She didn't. My hand closed around hers, warm, trembling. "You don't have to pretend with me," I whispered. For a long moment, she stared at our hands. Then her grip tightened, desperate, like she was holding on to something she'd been afraid to lose. "I'm scared," she said again, her voice cracking. "So am I. I admit it every single day. But maybe being scared together is better than being alone apart." She let out a shaky laugh. Part sob, part relief. "You're ridiculous." "Probably," I smiled faintly. "But I mean every word." Her office, with its towering windows and expensive furniture, suddenly felt smaller, more human. Like it wasn't her fortress anymore, but just a room where two people were finally honest. She wiped her eyes quickly. "And your daughter?" "She likes you," I said, my chest tightening with both fear and hope. "But she's afraid of losing again. Just like us." Her expression softened, and for the first time, I saw it, a crack wide enough for light to come through. "I don't want to hurt her," she whispered. "Then don't," I said simply. "Stay. Let's figure this out. Not for perfection. Not for some fairy tale ending. Just for us." The silence that followed wasn't heavy anymore. It was fragile but alive. Finally, she nodded, her hand still in mine. "Okay, I'll try." Relief crashed over me so strong, I almost buckled. I leaned closer, lowering my voice. "That's all I'm asking. Just don't walk away." She gave me the faintest smile through her tears. "You're stubborn, you know that?" "Comes with being a dad." I chuckled, though my throat was still thick. And in that moment, with her hand in mine and her walls crumbling, I knew this wasn't the end. It was the start of something neither of us thought we deserved, but both of us desperately needed. I went home lighter that night, carrying her words like a fragile flame I was afraid to smother. For the first time in years, I wasn't haunted by what I had lost. I was reaching for what I could still build. Weeks later, the house felt different. Not perfect, not fixed, just alive again. My daughter hummed while setting the table, her little hands moving with surprising care. I glanced over. "Sweetheart, what are you doing?" She grinned, her gap-toothed smile wide. 3 plates. 1 for you, 1 for me, and 1 for her. My throat tightened. "You sure about that?" "Yes," she said firmly, "because she's part of us now." I turned toward the woman sitting in the living room, watching with a soft, nervous smile. She laughed suddenly, the sound bubbling out, warm and bright. It felt like sunlight pouring through a window that had been shut too long. "You don't have to," she started. My daughter cut her off with a shake of her head. "We want to." The 3 of us sat down together. The plates clinked softly, the smell of roasted chicken filling the air. For once, there was no ghost at the table, no shadow pressing against us. Just us. I looked across at her, and then at my daughter, who was already babbling about school, and something inside me shifted. I thought of my wife, of her laughter, her love, the way she used to guide me through life's storms. Her memory wasn't gone. It would never be. But I realized then, it didn't have to chain me to sorrow. It could be a foundation for something new. The woman across from me caught my gaze. "You're quiet again," she teased gently. I smiled faintly. "Just thinking." "About what?" I hesitated, then let the words come. That maybe love isn't about being unbroken. Maybe it's about choosing to stay, even when we are. Her eyes softened, and her hand reached across the table, tentative but steady. I placed mine over hers, and my daughter giggled like she had just witnessed a secret she'd been waiting for all along. We weren't healed completely. Maybe we never would be. But we were moving forward, step by step, plate by plate, laugh by laugh. And as I sat there with the 2 most important people in my life, I whispered to myself, barely loud enough for anyone to hear, "This is our new table."